trust you've placed in me, with love for our nation and with unwavering resolve.
Special Counsel Jack Smith is reportedly in active discussions with senior Justice Department officials about ways to conclude his cases against President-elect Donald Trump, sources revealed.
The move follows the Department of Justice's established policy that prevents the criminal prosecution of a sitting president, sources indicated.
A Lebanese minister announced that the country is filing a complaint with the UN's labor organization against Israel, citing recent lethal incidents involving exploding pagers that harmed Lebanese workers. Greek authorities recovered the bodies of 4 individuals from the waters off the eastern Aegean island of Rhodes, where a migrant smuggler allegedly forced passengers overboard en route from Turkey, the Coast Guard reported.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
What's going on up there? This thing. You see those things? Whatever. This thing. I'm going to be OCD about that now. It's a thing. Well, you're alive, and depending on your perspective, that's either a good thing or a bad thing. So, good thing or
wake up, America! You've got a dog that.
You know, you hit the button with the stop the looping, and it just doesn't stop the looping. I'm gonna have to do something about that one of these days, but there won't be one of these days. Anyway, again, based on depending on your perspective. You're alive today, and that's either a good or a bad thing. So good or bad Friday morning. It is Friday, November 8th, 2024. One day closer to complete dystopia. Ian says, Matt seems in better spirits this morning. I don't know where you get that from. What I'm wondering is, and this is the question of the day, is violence never acceptable? Is it never acceptable? No, I'm not going any further than that here. But the question I have is: were the German people wrong to want to assassinate Adolf Hitler? Were they wrong? Yes or no? It's a simple yes or no question. But it's something to think about. And I think all the people. First of all, I will say that Joe Biden is a total, complete pussy and weakling, and I'm not happy with him at all. I mean, basically, there are still too many questions about this election. You know, basically, I keep saying basically, more people registered, more people turned out than ever before. More people registered as Democrat than ever before, or expressed their intent to vote Democrat than ever before. Yet, somehow, the votes aren't adding up. Less votes. What happened to the missing votes? Who cares? He won. We're just going to lay down. Peaceful transfer. No, it's not a peaceful transfer. And listen, I mean, I'm going to be harping on this until January 7th, I guess, and if I live that long. And when I say that, you know what, people, he always says this death stuff. I honestly am not certain about that for a lot of reasons. But nothing's written in stone. Who knows what the future holds, right? What's going on with Twitch? Are we not on Twitch? And we offer Twitch? What's going on over there? Twitchy. Go live on Twitch says, Twitch says the title is invalid because the title of today's show is The Erotic Entrepreneur. I guess I have to say something different over there. The entrepreneur. Hold on a second. I'm not allowed to say the erotic entrepreneur, but that's who our guest is going to be, Annie Temple, today. And she is known as the erotic entrepreneur. Am I allowed to say that, Twitch? Oh, my God. They won't. The word erotic is a bad word now. The word police are already in full force, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, where the hell was I? Yeah, Biden just laying down and not investigating and having the Justice Department kind of, yeah, I'm writing things to myself again. I'm not appreciative of that at all. Anyway, just laying down and accepting the results with the numbers being so funny, and because being afraid to be called an election denier. That's basically what it comes down. Mind Dog, the entrepreneur. We're having trouble connecting to Twitch. What's going on, Twitch? Twitch is not liking us this morning. Maybe I should just get off of Twitch. Anyways, we're having trouble streaming to Twitch. This may be an issue with Twitch, and we may keep trying, but fuck Twitch, whatever. Okay. So, yeah, we're going to talk to, in the second hour, Annie Temple, who is known as the erotic entrepreneur. She's a former stripper, has been involved in the entertainment business most of her life. She's got a book out. I think it's what's the name of the book? Hold on, let me refresh my memory. I didn't even add the book as an overlay, did I? Oh, yes, I did. Right? No, that's yesterday's book. See me? I am all off everything. Oh, I know the name of her book. No, I'm not going to post that yet. Here's the name of her book coming up right here. How Sex Work Shaped My Life. And I'm not sure if she means literally shaped, like got in shape. We'll find out when she gets here. She's due here at 10:15. But like a lot of our recent guests, you might not show up. If you are hungry for a T-shirt, new T-shirt designs in the store. It looks something like this. Make America Germany again with your two favorite bears and otters. I don't know which one's the bear or which one's the otter. Maybe they're both otters, except for Hitler's lip. Anyway, that is available on cups and T-shirts and bowling balls and chainsaws and spatulas and any other kind of merchandise you could possibly want in the minddogtv.com store. Do that and support the program so we have a few dollars to bury ourselves with, or have a cremation or whatever we're going to have. Me, I'm probably just going to put myself in a garbage bag, a hefty bag, and leave myself out for the trash. And maybe Trump will come by in his fucking garbage man outfit and pretend to pick me up. How about that? And I think he's done with that. He laid out his plan for dismantling the intelligence agencies of the United States last night. I don't know if you heard it, but dark days are coming unless violence happens or unless Biden grows a pair of balls. Extremely dark days are coming. And, it's part of me is like, yeah, we deserve this. We fucking deserve it. We deserve what we get out of this. And the people who think we were just overstating things or just full of TDS, Trump derangement syndrome or whatever, they're about to see just how dark and vengeful and crazy this is going to be. Some of your neighbors, some of your friends, some of your family are about to have their lives completely destroyed. Sometimes it could be your own spouse because of what you supported. Now, I quit the band yesterday, and everybody's saying, well, I did the wrong thing. Well, no. I'm not going. Imagine this is 1933 in Berlin, and it's not that far a stretch, honestly. We are there. And the Nazis are throwing a party, and you're in a band, and the guy you're standing next to in the band is a full-on Nazi. Would you stand next to him as he just smiles and tries to entertain the crowd? Or would you stand on principle and say, whatever happens to me, I'm going to end up on the right side of history. I'm not going to be a fucking Nazi. And that's where I am. Michael Scarione, calls himself Mikey Shane, is a full-on Nazi. And I'm not going to be part of his life. And that's as simple as that. And he could sue me if he likes because I said that, but I will prove it's true. I have the receipts. So there you go. Anyway, so Annie Temple will be our guest today. If you want to support the show while I'm still alive, and you need a video editor, AI video editor solution, Opus Clip is your way to go. Opus Clips. Yeah, the link is in the description. Our link is in the description. Go there, spend some money with them, so I can buy coffee tomorrow. Here we go. Oh, she's laughing, but you don't hear her laughing. And now, there's a sports announcer saying something about, yeah. I'm taking a shower on an apple. I'm doing all the, what used to be in the background. And I'm not doing it well. Bro, that's the one. If anything, not bro. Because I'm not sure I like what I did with the audio there, but it's better than getting sued or copyright infringement. Ron Kane, who would be the perfect guy to have on this morning with Annie Temple, the erotic entrepreneur, is not here because I believe he is actually stealing flowers from a funeral, which is kind of tacky. But we do have Stephen, the sitcom flower stealer Ortiz, and GD flower stealer Fenderson with us. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning, America. MindDogTV.com. Are you frustrated, angry, or maybe just a run-of-the-mill incel, and you need a safe place to rant? Order your Mind Dog TV screen catcher. It's this easy. Place the screen catcher over your head and let it rip. No one can hear you scream.
Yeah.
No one can hear you scream. It's the Mind Dog TV screen catcher. It works for farts, too. MindDogTV.com. Support your local mercenaries and enjoy the suffering.
Are those available in smaller sizes if I want to keep somebody potentially, I don't know, orange or feminine from screaming?
Well, one size fits all.
Yeah, so when our lab designed this, our lab took so much time to design one that was one size fits all. I mean,
the R&D department is on it.
Yeah, I mean, they worked endlessly. Well, it actually did end eventually. They did stop working on it, but until they stopped working on it, they worked on it endlessly.
Between the dildo games and the scream bag, they're on a roll, and I know rolls.
Oh, yeah. So, so people are giving me shit about quitting the band. You know, it's the wrong thing to do. We need music now more than ever. Yeah, let's all dance while the Jews fucking burn in the ovens. Let's all play a nice happy song, sing along. We'll do Sweet Caroline again one more time. How about that? So good, so good. What's that smell? Oh, that's Jews burning. It's no problem. Oh yeah, thank you very much. I don't know. It's tough standing on principle sometimes, but you have to draw the line. What you will accept in your life, and I am not accepting Nazis at all in my life. Any of them. I'm done with all of them, and I'm done even trying to have arguments with them. So my question of the day, I'm just curious: is violence never acceptable?
I don't believe that. I believe it has a place and a time. And I think for, whether it's somebody trying to coup, whether it's somebody trying to attack a family member, whether it's or maybe it's standing on your own principle. I mean, if somebody gets in your face and says, "What are you going to do, pussy?" If you stand on the principle that I'm not a pussy, I'm going to knock your ass out.
I think that's
there's a time and place for it.
Nah, I think that is probably well. That's again, it's a personal thing, but that I'm not willing to just be over name calling or dares or stuff like
No. I was just making the point that there's a time and place for it. I don't think there's a such thing as violence. There's no place for violence. That's bullshit.
I agree. There is a place for violence, and like he said, it doesn't matter if it's a coup or cuckoo. It's I'm the walrus. I am not going to sit here and not be a pacifist. Well, I'm not going to be a pacifist if that's not the right thing to be.
Isn't that what the president of the United States is calling for us to do at this moment?
I haven't been listening. I do not know.
All right.
Honestly, I have not watched the news.
He's basically committed to a peaceful transfer. He called Donald Trump and told him he's going to have all his staff work with him on a peaceful transfer, make everything nice and easy for him. And that to the American people, we can't just love the country when we win. Which is, that I agree. You don't have to win every election and all that kind of stuff. But when it is seriously, I mean, Steve Bannon's holding up the Project 2025 book and said, we're ready to start. That's what he did last night. All right, well, it begins now. Trump went and did a short video from his little bunker there, which he's ready to come out of, which he says basically he's getting rid of the entire apparatus that keeps us safe from terrorism, and not only going to get rid of like the CIA and NSA and FBI, but he's also going to persecute all the members of it, like revenge. He's hell-bent on revenge, and the Satan was coming out in him completely, and people who think we were overstating the danger that lies within this man are about to find out it's not just me he's coming after. It's not just your enemies. It's your family, people, anybody who is perceived as something that he doesn't like in any way. This is going to happen, and you can still say, "Oh, you're just being sour grapes. You lost." No, you can. Time will prove, and this is not I told you so. This is time will show that this is Hitler too, and you're going to find out about it. And you know what? Let's not have a discussion about, oh, you were right. I don't want to hear, oh, you were right. He really is bad. I don't want to hear that from him. Fucking just die. I'm going to die. I'm a target of this. And so all these people who are just like saying, well, we just have to accept it and try to be nice. And we can still disagree, but we have to disagree amicably. No, there's a time for violence. You're my enemy now. And I am contemplating violence. I am. That's the bottom line here.
I think it's premature.
You're not planning on hurting me. That's all I care about right now, right?
I would have done that a long time ago.
Okay, all right, then go for it. Knock yourself out.
No. So yeah, I don't know what we're going to talk about other than that for the next hour until Annie Temple gets here. Are you guys? Are you big fans of eroticism and adult entertainment?
I don't think it has a place in with violence. No.
Yeah, it definitely does. Definitely doesn't go hand in hand. Actually, that's not completely true. But there's I don't know. I'm not a porn fan. Like legitimately, I'm not a huge porn fan. But I don't know. I feel like
Now, do you like
eroticism?
Porn? I mean, I don't
like porn in general.
Oh, okay.
I don't like porn in general.
Well, Ian says January 6th, Part 2, Kamala's Revenge. No, that's not what I'm referring to. I'm not saying anybody should storm the Capitol. I'm saying if you know I'm just gonna. I'm not gonna say.
Don't say it.
Yeah,
you're gonna have Secret Service at your door. Don't do it.
No, I wasn't gonna say anything about the violence against the president or president-elect.
Okay, good.
I was going to talk about your neighbors and the people who are Nazis who are just afraid to put on the brown shirt at this point. They won't be come January. They will be putting on their brown shirts. But I say I would not wait until then. I would start now, this morning.
Yeah, but here's the thing: if you take action now, none of that happens. You're just another white violent dude.
Whatever happens, I truly expect to be targeted myself before then. I definitely do.
What if it doesn't get nearly as bad as we're thinking it's going
I
to?
think that's like,
because I don't disagree with you, but what if?
What if I
What do
win
we wait for?
$100 million in the Powerball lottery tonight?
Then you can afford to do something about the presidential situation. But until then,
no, I can't afford to. No, $100 million won't make a dent in it. The issue is the point I'm making is it's not. It's almost impossible. It's as close to impossible as we are on a road, firmly on the road, with the support of or the laying down and complete surrender of the people who are supposed to protect us from this. We have, Merrick Garland, again, coming back to this idea. We have the 14th Amendment. Yeah, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which says that anybody who participated in any way in an insurrection is not fit to hold any office, any elected office in the United States. Yet, we didn't prosecute him for it. We didn't establish that, and we had 4 years to do it, to establish that he was part of an insurrection and stop him from running. But Biden still has the authority, as granted to him by the Supreme Court, to say, you know what, I'm declaring him an insurrectionist and his presidency is invalid. There's no way he's doing that. He's just pushing out and laying down and trying to tell people to accept it. And I don't, from a fucking corpse who is just sitting there mumbling at us how we have to be nice, I'm not accepting that. Fuck you, Joe. You're a pussy. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I guess institutionalist is the new pussy. I guess that's
It's not institutionalism at this point. It's demurring.
That's yeah.
It kind of sounds like institutionalism, because they're assuming that Trump isn't going to do anything outrageous.
No, I don't think they're assuming that. I don't think
they have to be if they're pushing for everybody to just be like kumbaya, peaceful transition to power, everything's gonna be hunky dory. They're not expecting anything crazy, which I don't see how they aren't when everything is red in Washington. Everything is red.
I think he's just. Go ahead.
You're just saying they're both stupid. They're not stupid people. They know. And he gave a speech last night, or a little videotape speech, where he said he's ready to go on all this stuff. I mean, they're not thinking that he's not going to follow through on all this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that was the whole point of Biden's campaign before he dropped out, was that you cannot let this man take power. Right. And all the people that worked with him, that joined Kamala Harris's coalition, the generals and the former staff members and stuff like that, they all said the same thing, that he really will do this because he tried before, and the only reason why he didn't succeed was because we stopped him. And even then there's some things like the Muslim ban, he did enact it. I mean, it didn't get, it was an executive order, but still he did, right. So separating the children from their parents at the border, he did that. Right. We know what he's capable of doing. Even with guardrails, we know what he's capable of doing. Without guardrails, hell's the limit.
And if this were another country, any other country on the planet, there would be riots in the street. Yeah. But right now, we're just like accepting it. We are.
Well, there's the puss of perception. Nobody on the left wants to be perceived as a election denier. They don't want to be seen as we're trying to do an insurrection ourselves. We don't want to look like the pussies who did this in 2020.
So you don't call it that. You should say seeking justice.
Yeah, but they don't. That's the thing, though, is they know as soon as they make any sound, the right's gonna be like, "Oh, hypocrites! You're doing."
They're gonna say it anyway. They're gonna. It doesn't. See, this is the problem I have with people. This is the problem that I have with people who are inactive or refuse to act because they're afraid of what people are going to say. Okay.
Yeah, well,
Words,
if I
it
can just
just,
stop 1 second here.
yeah.
Stephen is accurately portraying the mindset of the people who are surrendering right now. You are reacting to those people, but you're kind of directing it at Stephen, who's just accurately saying what these
No, I'm not
idiots are
directing it
thinking.
at Steven. I'm saying this is the problem I have with people who choose inaction because of what they're afraid of people going to say. That's what I'm talking. I'm not saying this to Stephen. I'm saying this to the people who are choosing inaction out of fear. Because I understand what he said. He was saying to those people. I understood.
He's absolutely right. That the fear, and I said it at least a dozen times yesterday, is the fear of being perceived. Who the fuck cares how people perceive you?
Right.
If somebody breaks into your house and you have like a home invasion and they're about to kill your wife or and children, do you care how they perceive you? If you find
No, if someone breaks into my house, I don't care if you're breaking in to try to steal a cup of sugar.
I
You're
don't want
getting a
them to think
bullet
I'm a
in your
violent
head.
person. I don't want them to think I'm
One time I
wrong.
broke in your house to steal sugar, okay? But but was that cake not delicious? Was it not worth letting me steal
You
that
know, the
sugar?
cake was delicious, but you're lucky I
Thank you.
just woke up and I'm a bad shot when I'm
That's
sleepy.
true. That's true, because that cake would have had blood all over it.
Well, yeah, well, I can't chase you down. I had to do something, So.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but it
Wow.
was a good cake. That was
It's
my
a damn
mom's
good
recipe.
cake, man.
My mom's recipe. And
I
she stole her
apologize.
first cup of sugar.
Well, I apologize for my mother-in-law calling it monkey bread. I know it was a birthday cake, but it's hard.
Well, the funny thing is, I think the sugar tastes better when it is stolen. It's almost like
Yeah.
organic, almost. Yeah.
100%.
And I'm just really so sick of saying this stuff, but it needs to be pointed out that people are trying to assess normal what went wrong evaluations of this thing, and they was trying to say she didn't go far enough to the left. Well, it turns out that I'm going to help you buy a house. I'm going to help you take care of your children with a child care tax credit. All these things were not as good political messages as brown people are eating your cats and dogs. That's the truth. It's not she didn't go far enough to the left. And Bernie Sanders is one of these people saying she abandoned the middle class. No, fuck you. She said she was going to help people buy their first house. She was going to help new business owners start their business and give them the resources they needed to start a business. That is supporting the middle class. She was telling unions, I'm on your side. She was for raising the minimum wage. This is all middle class, lifting people up messaging. It wasn't that she wasn't going far enough to left. She was talking about
That's why I think
all
Bernie
these.
Sanders is ranting for the sake of ranting. I think, I he he's just rant. He's just an old man yelling at windmills and the wrong windmills.
Yeah, but he's not alone in this. Most of the Democratic Party is saying, and listen, Democratic Party, you don't need to reassess. You're not going to be around anymore. We live in a one-party system. Have we got the full tally on the House yet? Did we? Because I was looking last.
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of. And I don't.
This is still fucking. It's driving me crazy. Why can't we have the answer on the House votes 3 days later? But we had the presidential results by 2:30 in the morning. It doesn't.
Because he won by a landslide.
It doesn't. The idea you couldn't know he won by a landslide. They're the same fucking ballots.
No, I agree. That's what I don't get. I was just about to say. It's mind blowing that we can get there. It's all on the same fucking ballot, but it's days apart, weeks apart. Like, what are we doing here? Something's not right. What'd you guys do? Count the top of the ballot and say president. All right, we'll count the rest later. Like that doesn't.
No, and it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if the actual vote tally on all the House and Senate and other issues comes up to the number of the turnout, but the presidential one still doesn't.
That's what I was wondering also. That's the other thing I'm wondering as well.
Yeah.
And the only way to check that basically is through the paper ballots. If they do the recounts using electronic stuff, it's going to come out the way the computer saw it the first time. You need the paper ballots. And I'm saying this as a former election judge who had in their precinct a machine that was flipping votes. I saw it firsthand. I saw it directly, and I turned it in. And I reported it. I reported it to the two candidates, to the losing candidate and the winning candidate, to both sides, because she only lost by like 158 votes. 158 votes. And I know that before we caught my machine, it had flipped a dozen votes, at least a dozen. And she only lost by 158. And I talked to the newspapers. I got interviewed for it. I had the printout. I had the receipts, and I got bumped off the paper by a fight that took place in a precinct, a physical fight. And that's what they covered instead of me showing that the machine I had was flipping votes.
Didn't fit the narrative. They didn't fucking care.
Yeah. So I know the machines can flip votes. I know that firsthand, and that's why I'm worried, and that's why I'm scared, because our machines didn't have paper ballots. Okay, the only thing, whatever the machine said when you did the recount, the machine just says, "That's what I said the first time. I'm saying it again." There were no paper ballots in those machines, and so you could not. If you had a paper ballot, you can go back and say, "Okay, wait a minute. There really were 300 votes for this person, but the machine says there's only 250. Where does those 50 votes go?" That's why you need the paper ballots. So, and that's why I'm concerned, because I've seen it. I've seen the machines flip votes, and it can do it for just one candidate. It doesn't have to flip the votes for all the candidates. It did it for just one candidate. Okay, and I had the receipts. I kept the receipts for years, hoping that somebody. I even went on radio shows talking about it, and could not get any traction until the evidence literally faded away, because the proof I had was on thermal paper. And thermal paper, after a while, it just fades.
Those machines are working for Russia, according to
probably.
Nah.
So I had a conversation on Facebook yesterday, actually on one of Ron's posts. So Ron posted on Facebook something along the lines of, "You can take my daughter's rights, but my guns are cool," right?
Right.
And so somebody commented on it. What rights is she losing besides killing a baby? And don't say that's a right, because it's not. Right. So I commented,
I know what you said.
Sure, carry a rape baby to full term. That's a good call. At least your guns are safe. And then he went on this stereotypical right-wing rant, right?
Wait, no, Stephen. You did say that the father would have to share, the woman would have to share parental rights. You said that with the rapist, and that's not true. And that's what the guy was going off on.
It has happened.
Huh?
It has happened. If the guy's not charged with rape, then or not convicted, he could be charged. If he's not convicted of rape, then he has parental rights.
Right.
I guess depends on the state, but yeah, it can happen.
I don't think
that your daughter. So, for example, your daughter goes to a party, gets drunk, gets raped, but there's no conviction because she was drunk or whatever the situation might be. Now she has to carry the baby and all of that shit. That's the point I was trying to make.
Was the point. That's a good point. But to say that he's going to share the parental rights, that's where the guy. Once you go that far, then you open the door for him to give you this weird rebuttal. I saw the whole conversation.
Yeah,
but. Nobody, first of all, that has not even been discussed, the idea of parental rights of the rapist, and in most cases they won't want that. I don't think that's you're going off issue here. The issue is, do you have the right to force a woman to carry the term and bear a child against her will? And that's,
I guess my mind went there because I have daughters.
You have what?
So I have daughters. And I have daughters, and I have a what-if mentality. So because all the shit that's gone down, my brain is in every fucking direction, because now I have to look out for my daughters 100 times more than I had to previously, because she's basically going to be looked at as a second-class citizen.
Right.
Now the other thing is it's not just abortion rights. It's also women's health care. If you're in the midst of if you're a woman and you're trying to have a baby, you and your mate are trying to have a baby, and something goes horribly wrong, and she needs care, and let's say the care to save her life could endanger the baby. There are going to be doctors who are not going to.
I did at least 1,100 fetal autopsies on miscarriages that died in the womb that could have killed the mother. They are officially an abortion. It's the same procedure. It's called an abortion, even though the baby is already dead in the womb. It's an abortion. That is also illegal and under all the bans. You're totally.
A lady had commented on the post exactly that she'd gone through that and was making the point that in the event that she needed any health care, period, that was considered an abortion, basically would have died of sepsis. Would have died.
Right. Yeah. So, and plus the fact that they are so concerned about the life of a fetus, which is not a person yet, but they are not at all concerned with the fact that infant mortality rates, because of the bans, have gone up almost 60% at this point. And this is just in the short term. 60% infant mortality rates have gone up. So you care about the ones that you want to call babies that are not babies yet, but you don't care about the actual babies who are actual people already.
They also don't care about the babies if they come out and become gay either.
There was a former, I'm gonna call him pro-life because that's what he called himself, but in my mind it's anti-choice. There was a former pro-life minister, one of the big megachurches. I wish I could remember his name right now, but he left them and he joined the pro-choice movement because he looked at the statistics. He says under Bill Clinton, there were fewer abortions under Bill Clinton, fewer abortions under Barack Obama than there were under, was it Donald Trump,
Bush,
George Bush. And when people have good health care and good choices, there are fewer abortions, plain and simple. Right. So their policy of trying to save the baby is killing more babies,
right?
That aren't even babies. So but you can't reason with people, because if we could reason with people, we would have had a President Clinton, a President Gore, and a President Kamala Harris. But that's beside the point. You can't reason with people sometimes.
Harris is also, it seems, surrendering, laying down, and I don't know if that's because as vice president, she does not have the hammer that Biden has, but she is a completely, I know she said, well, I'm not giving up the fight, but in all honesty, the Democratic Party has been, just completely castrated. There is no Democratic Party anymore, especially if they lose the House today.
Years ago, I mean, this is like back when Gore was running against Kerry. No, not Gore. When Bush was running against Kerry, the Democratic Party was trying to quote. They were asking me for money and trying to recruit me or something. I don't remember. I don't know. They wanted my vote, and my money, mainly my money. And I told them, I will not give you one more dime until you grow a spine. That's what I wrote to them. And I thought they were growing a spine. Actually, this time I was putting that Kamala Harris had a spine, which is why I gave, as much as I did, because I thought she was going to show a spine. But the Democrats are going to remain spineless, and they're not going to stand up for the people that need to be stood up for. We have a no party system because the Republicans aren't a party. They're an authoritarian sect. They're a cult. And the Democrats, if they're just going to be wusses and pusses, then we don't need them either. I say get rid of all the parties and let's have a round robin system with a popular vote. Let's get rid of of course, if I were king, there'd be no electoral college. It'd be a round robin popular vote.
Love that idea. And you know what? They have to elect a president, vice president. I have a question. Why isn't it like a Republican president and like a Democratic vice president for like a checks and balance thing? Why isn't that a thing?
Well, how would that even be a checks and balance?
In the very beginning,
has no check on the president.
Yeah, but in the beginning, wasn't it? Right. I think in the very, very beginning, it was like I think it was the president and the second place person became vice president. Was that how it was with John Adams? I'm trying to think.
I think you're right. I'm not sure of that, but it sounds like I think you're probably right on that.
I was going to say,
so I don't know when it changed, because also senators. It was the point we did not elect senators. Senators used to be appointed by the governors.
Well,
that's
first of all, think about that for a second. That provides incentive for assassinating the president if you lose. It absolutely does. Let's just take over. The coup makes having a coup a lot more plausible. Sorry, Leanne, I didn't mean to. According to AP, doesn't seem like the Dems have a chance of taking the House now. But the latest tally is 211 Republicans, 199 Democrats. How many votes? How many states?
Is it 218 they need? I think they need 218.
Yeah, 218, right?
Yeah.
But Alaska, all the Republicans are leading in all three races there. California, Republicans are leading in 7 out of 8 that are still going. In what is this? Iowa, Republicans are leading in both the races that are still going. In Maryland, the Democrats are leading in the two open states that are 2 open races that are running.
Well, Maryland has a bunch of safe. Even though they've done redistricting, and they went from having 1 safe Republican district to 2 safe Republican districts. There's 2. You know, you can almost.
I'm just talking about the two that have not been completed yet. Are both Republicans. I mean, both Democrats. Now in Michigan, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6. Actually, 6 in Michigan still open. All Republicans leading in those. North Carolina has 2, 1 Democrat and 1 Republican leading in each. New Jersey has 1 Republican leading in that. So it's looking like the Republicans are not just holding the House; they're gaining seats. So they have the entire government locked up. They have the entire both houses, the presidency and the Supreme Court. Bye, America. Kiss your ass goodbye. It's over. And the Democratic Party to say we need to do some soul searching and kind of forget about that. You had your chance.
They need to do some spine searching. It's not the soul that's
the
problem.
They need to fucking run to Argentina.
That's what. Listen, they need more than that. Okay, listen. Losing a few seats, sure, we need some soul searching. Losing the presidency, we really need to reevaluate. Losing everything, I think it's just time to pull the fucking plug and start from the ground up, because that's sad.
Yeah. And what the message we have sent to the rest of the world with Jack Smith closing down his investigation and Machan saying, basically throwing the case out now, is that this whole idea of nobody being above the law in America, that was just talk.
Pipe dream. Yeah, it's just a pipe dream. It's a slogan on a T-shirt. It's a slogan on a T-shirt.
You know how sad it is to have friends from other countries calling me and messaging me. Sorry.
I think that
it hurts my feelings.
The T-shirt should say, "No one is above the law, but it's beneath us to enforce the law."
Yeah, right. So it's all going to hell. And I don't know. I did reach out to a couple of young lion progressive podcasters, volunteering my services to them. Haven't heard back from anybody on this stuff. They probably think it's some kind of spam. I tried to ensure them. I'm not looking to make money. I don't want to charge anything. I'm basically offering my services. You can use me however you want. You're the boss. Tell me what to do, where to go, and still, it doesn't seem like anybody wants any help. And
did you use the words "use me however you want"?
No.
Did you say? Okay, did you say ATM? Did you say ATM? Did you say
use me however you want? I'm free ATM. I was gonna say, if you use that terminology, that's probably why they didn't respond.
No. But all kidding aside, I don't know. I don't know of any other way to kind of be useful at all in this.
All right. I will take up the mantle.
Honestly, I feel like just being a voice of
one at a time.
Okay, go ahead, Stephen.
Go ahead. Yours is more important.
I will take up the mantle. I'm younger than you, so I'm more youthful. I will start a podcast.
You have no influence, DD. I'm sorry. You have no. I don't have any. I have no influence,
He's looking
and
for people who
you have
already have.
less influence than me. Look at your numbers on YouTube and or on Instagram or
They're
Facebook
terrible.
or yeah. That's a measure of influence. Luke Beasley, 20 some odd, a 20 something guy. He has 1 million subscribers on YouTube. That's influence. You and I have no influence, and we are definitely. I don't care. We have no influence with the young people who are going to need to be making the decisions for this country for a long time to come. They ain't listening to us. Even if we had 1 million followers, they would be fucking old geriatric fucking people who are going to be dead soon anyway. It's just we need the Harry Tison.
What's the point of being black and not cracking if nobody's going to take advantage of my youthful wisdom, my youthful appearance?
Find somebody with the influence, right? Pump them up, get them where they need to be, and then we continue just to be the voice of dissent. We become a pin in the side of the presidency. We become a pin in the side of the Republican Party. We just become an issue for them.
No, Luke. Last night I listened to Luke Beasley a lot. He's a very impressive young man. I mean, he's wise beyond his years, and he's an extremely good communicator. And he basically, yeah, there you go. I would be doing the same. Listen, no, I'm no kidding around. I did look for a hose to hook up to my exhaust pipe to the window yesterday. These are real thoughts.
To your own car, or someone else's?
My own.
Oh, okay. I'm just checking.
Don't make dumb choices.
Besides that, with the transmission not working, well, I guess that's the only way you can get your car going. Are you on your transmission?
It runs. The engine runs.
See, you don't need the transmission to make exhaust fumes.
You absolutely don't.
No, I understand that. I understand that. I was just.
Don't be a dumb.
Whatever. Luke was making the point last night that the people who are coming out with what went wrong, their solutions are exactly equivalent to the case that they were making pre-election. All they are saying is, see, I told you so. You should have listened to me. I was right all along. And every single one of those, whatever it is, completely equal to the points they were making before. And everybody is in it just to pat themselves on the back and say, look, I was right. Nobody is really being accurate about what went wrong. And what went wrong is America has a shitty people problem. Flat out, we have a shitty people problem. We have people who are, if they're not Nazis, don't have a problem aligning themselves with Nazis. If they're not racist, they have no problem with racism. Again, people were talking about, I'd gladly trade my daughter's health for 10 cents a gallon, 10 cents cheaper a gallon gas, which is, I hate to break it to you, it's not going to be cheaper gas. It's going to be more expensive gas. So we're already seeing hints of where the tariffs and the economic plan are going to lead us. Elon Musk, who is going to be Trump's chief economic advisor, has come out and actually said we need to crash the economy. It's going to be hard for people for a time, but we need to crash it to rebuild it. That's what he said. We need to crash the economy. This is the new regime telling you this. Don't think gas is going to get cheaper. Don't think inflation isn't going to go through the fucking roof because of the tariff plans.
Most of these people that voted for this shit, most of you guys don't even realize if you live any more below your means, you're homeless. You don't even understand that. If I live any more below my means, I'm homeless.
Right.
And like 70%, 80% of the people that voted for all this bullshit are in the same boat. And you just put a big hole in that boat for all of us.
Right. They don't they never listened to the actual message. What resonated with them is the brown people are bad. The brown people are the problem. And the idea that immigration, people coming here from south of the border. No, they have no problem with the white people coming down from the north of the border. The brown people coming from the south of the border are the poisoning the blood of the country, and they are the problem. That was the sole issue, without even ever recognizing that it could have been solved with the plan, the border bill that Biden and Harris put forth, and Trump told the House to kill it so he could run on it. And that didn't resonate with him. But the fact that his own economic advisor is saying that we need to crash the economy, his main economic advisor is saying we gotta crash the economy, that doesn't resonate with him. These chickens are gonna come home to roost. And while I'm on chickens, there is a CDC said yesterday, number of bird flu cases is on the rise. We are headed towards another pandemic. Just in time to have Robert Kennedy tell us vaccines are no good. We're not going to have that kind of plan. We're going to just go with the ivermectin with bird flu, and the mortality rate is as much as 50%. Once it's human to human, the pandemic with bird flu is going to, and I have said this forever, going back to the COVID stuff. COVID was a dress rehearsal to get prepared for how to deal with a pandemic. We have another pandemic that is brewing, and the people coming on board are already primed to say it's just a hoax. Don't get a vaccine. Don't wear a mask, and don't worry about anything. Everything's going to be okay. And then people in their homes are going to start dying, and they're going to catch it, and they're going to die. And this is where we're headed. And chickens giving it to cats in Colorado.
Did you hear about?
So I'm just making the point that it's already arrived at my house.
Well, yeah. Did you hear about the 40 monkeys that escaped a biolab in South Carolina?
Yeah.
Hey, they don't like being. They're black. They're blacks. Black Americans. They're citizens. You do not call them monkeys just because they escaped. Okay. I am sick and tired of this shit. They got their freedom. Okay, they're free.
Hey, I did not say prison break. Okay, I said they escaped from a bio research lab, and they were young, and they were not old enough to be tested on yet.
Somebody doesn't know the Tuskegee experiment history.
I do.
Oh, so your dad ran it. I forgot your dad ran it.
With all this doom and gloom, the point I'm making is these people who thought we were just exaggerating or overstating for the point of just trying to influence them. No, we were telling the truth about just how dark the future is that we have so far surrendered to. That's where we're going. So it will. The chickens will come home to roost, or they'll come to my house and kill my cats and then me. But whatever. I'm not going to be here. I am seriously. As soon as I get my car fixed, I'm going to head towards Mexico. Because you know what? If I'm going to die poor and alone, I'm going to die poor and alone on a warm beach, not in cold New York. I'm not just going to let it happen here. I'm going to do it on my own terms in a place that feels like paradise, even though it's going to be the
band on the Titanic, and I'm just going to keep performing as the ship.
I don't know. You're going. Oh yeah. What is this war?
Yeah, that's because he was on the Titanic, and that's how it sounds. That's it goes.
Is my mic really sounding bad again?
Yes,
it's not the mic. It sounds like Wi-Fi issues are cutting in and cutting out, and
it sounds like you were going under in the Titanic. Sounds like you were going under.
Yeah,
he's switching. Whatever. He's switching things like whatever. He's switching equipment.
Yeah. So I don't know. No, that was not better. I don't know where this effort is going. I'm going to keep doing it for the time being, but I'm not sure that I'm going to continue on doing this. I feel like, I still, at this point, I know we have somebody interesting coming on. She has a book that is definitely titillating, to say the least. But I just don't have the energy for helping people promote books that are For what? I mean, yeah, we're going to read these books about the adult entertainment industry. So what are you going to be doing? Stripping for Nazis? I mean, is
Well, I
that
was going
what
to
you?
say because they're trying. The Project 2025 is trying to make porn illegal anyway, right?
It's
So
not
what
Grinder.
is? Well, that's not porn.
Grinder is
That's
Grinder a
sustenance.
porn site?
No, that's sustenance.
Grindr is a gay dating site, a gay hookup site.
But they're going to make homosexuality illegal, so Grindr is going to be out of business if that's the case.
It probably will. It probably will go out of business.
Well, unless they just say it's a friendship thing, they don't have to say, it just say friendship.
Yeah, new book title coming soon: "Stripping for Nazis." That's basically it's a documentary. It's not really a book. It's a documentary film.
I don't see why. In the meantime, it's gonna happen regardless. We might as well just especially to your car's fix. Let's just do what we normally do. People will have fun. We won't let them ruin our psyches completely, and distract ourselves a little bit. Right now.
Obviously, you have not been paying attention. My psyche was never all that healthy.
No, that I know.
No, not letting them ruin my psyche. It's the fact that there's no getting through to them, and I feel like hope is lost. I really feel like hope is lost. There is no doubt in my mind that all the things that I had expected from this coming administration are going to come true. I have no doubt that those, and it's not like oh, look at me, I got it right. It was fucking plain as day. Like you're saying, the sun's going to come up tomorrow, and then the sun comes up, and you want to pat yourself on the back for getting that prediction right. No, I'm not. This is just, they're not seeing it. They're still taking it as, oh, this is just a matter of opinion. Well, can't we just have different opinions? This is not a fucking matter of opinion. This is, the Nazis have won. You are on the side of the Nazis. And it's not it's not hyperbole. It's not fucking, just making stuff. I'm not trying to convince, the election is over. You're not going to change your vote at this point. I'm not trying to change your mind about everything. I'm stating the fact of where we are and what to expect coming down the pike. So people are saying, well, the CIA is not going to let this happen. They will take them out. That's bullshit. They're not. They're just not going to do that. No, there's very few individuals who are willing to make themselves the sacrificial lamb. And who's going to give the order? And that person has got to know that they're giving the order to people who are not going to fucking sell them out.
What's more likely the case is going to be the CIA or the FBI is going to get some sort of hint that something's going to happen. They're just going to let it happen. If that's what they want to happen, you know what I'm saying? Because then they have full deniability. They can just be like, "Oh, it was a tip. It got through. Sorry." Versus,
well, if I were
the order,
if I were in the CIA or the FBI right now, somebody saying, I've never seen these guys so bitter and out of touch with reality. Trump won the popular vote. Let that sink in. No, I get it. Nobody's saying that he did. This guy is talk about out of touch with reality. I'm not saying that is what I'm actually agreeing with you. Trump won the popular vote. We have a shitty people problem like you. We have Nazis. Nazis won. They don't care about the fact that what he's going to do to people you love and people who are part of your family and inner circle. You don't care about any of that. What matters most to you is he's going to fucking get rid of the brown people. The people you hate, and he's going to, in your mind, give you 10 cents less a gallon on gas, which is not going to happen. Gas is going to become more expensive. Or that aside, that's what you care about. You don't care about people. I'm not saying he didn't win. You're talking about out of touch with reality. You're lost, dude.
And you know what? And as far as speaking for myself, I don't, and I feel like you guys probably agree with this. I don't want to see anything bad happen to our country. I would love to be wrong, things to end up going really well and us be completely wrong, so we can all come back and say we were wrong. Trump fucking did amazing. He did wonderful things. Things turned out great. I would love for that to happen. Do I see that happening? No. What I see is the millions of people that voted are going to be the people that are going to say, what the fuck did we do? That's what I see is going to happen. I'd love to be wrong. I'd love to come back in 4 years and be like, you know what? We were wrong. Trump was fucking amazing. This country's amazing. It is great again. Awesome. I don't see that happening. I'm bitter again, like I said at the top of the show, because I have kids. I have daughters. They're the ones that are going to really be paying for this in the future.
Here's the deal. I still would not be happy with that, only because he didn't win, or his campaign was not about good things. Okay, even if he does good things, they elected him because they thought he was going to do the bad things. They elected him because they thought he was going to get rid of the brown people. They elected him because they thought he was going to crash the economy and reset it. They elected him because they thought he was going to own the libs. That was their purpose. That's what they wanted. So if things didn't work out their way, doesn't mean I'm happy about it, because they intended. It's like if somebody attempts to rape a woman and he doesn't succeed. Okay, do we give him credit because he didn't rape her? No. No, he tried.
Yeah.
Damn good analogy.
These people here try to fuck over the country, and they're trying to hurt people. That's what they wanted. That's what they intended. If it doesn't work out that way, I'm not going to be like, pat them on the back. They failed. No.
But I'd love to be wrong.
I'm going to news, but
cool.
We'll see if we want to respond to this unpopular truth, dude. Afterwards.
A Lebanese minister announced that the country is filing a complaint with the UN's labor organization against Israel, citing recent lethal incidents involving exploding pagers that harmed Lebanese workers.
The mid-September blasts, widely attributed to Israel, though unconfirmed, killed 37 people, including 2 children, injured over 3,000, and left even unaffiliated Lebanese citizens deeply shaken. An international labor organization spokeswoman said she had not yet been briefed on the complaint or any potential courses for resolution it could pursue. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Special counsel Jack Smith is reportedly in active discussions with senior Justice Department officials about ways to conclude his cases against President-elect Donald Trump, sources revealed.
The move follows the Department of Justice's established policy that prevents the criminal prosecution of a sitting president, sources indicated. Smith's team is now deliberating on how to proceed in dropping the federal election interference case in Washington, D.C., along with handling the pending appeal over Judge Aileen Cannon's prior dismissal. Lawrence Keller reports.
Vice President Harris expressed her full resolve in the wake of losing the presidential election to former President Donald Trump.
Today, my heart is overflowing with gratitude for the trust you've placed in me, with love for our nation, and with unwavering resolve, Harris said during a speech at Howard University, her alma mater in Washington, D.C. This election's result is not what we hoped for, not what we fought for, not what we voted for, but America's light will shine on as long as we never lose hope, Harris declared. Jessica Oakley reporting.
I don't think that's believed.
This is the latest news headlines.
Bitcoin's price surged to a new record on Wednesday, fueled by investor optimism that Donald Trump's election victory could boost the cryptocurrency market.
Bitcoin climbed nearly 8% to an unprecedented $75,345 in early trading, before retreating to about $73,500. Although previously skeptical, Trump reversed his stance and adopted a pro-crypto position before the election, vowing to turn America into the crypto capital of the world and establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Kevin Sanders reporting.
Authorities recovered the bodies of individuals from the off the eastern Aegean island road. Migrant smuggler allegedly forced passengers aboard from Turkey Coast Guard.
The 3 men and woman were found near roads and
in which 3 lost their lives, stream flooding angles on the edge of
by gripping a fact in.
Did you see Governor again when yesterday came in and said, "Hey, this was shit."
Don't learn. They don't add traffic coming into billions of dollars and from coming attention to anybody else. I've earned my.
To address us, is declared high has years than you, and I'm certain of them very high, but a lot of them. Do you want to do away with that? Do you want to do away with that agency? Because Trump has said that he's going to gut it. Now, what happens then? What happens if there's a terrorist attack because Trump gutted the agency that is protecting you? Are you going to still stand by his side then? Or are you going to be out of touch with reality?
Just like we were hit by a pandemic not because Trump did this, the pandemic was coming, but he mishandled it because he was given a book on how to handle a pandemic. He was given it, and he literally threw it in the trash, literally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So don't talk to us about not being in touch with reality when you're unaware of these facts. Okay. So if you want to come on under your real name, because I'm sure your parents didn't name you Unpopular Truth, if you had parents that named you at all, you want to come on with your real name and your real face, I'll be glad to talk to you. Otherwise, suck my ass.
I'm not going to ban him yet. I definitely, you know what? Even if you want to hide behind a fake moniker like a fucking coward, you can do that. But I would definitely like to hear your answers on some of these things. Do you think? Do you really think that none of this stuff is going to come to fruition? You think that, or are you happy? Are you happy he's going to be persecuting his perceived enemies? Because that's the plan. Revenge is part of the plan. And if you don't believe that's true, you have not been paying attention. Yeah, Trump won the popular vote so far, from what we can, but they don't add up. They don't add up.
Notice that even when we had a phone number and an open invite, not a single fucking Trumper wanted to come in and talk to us.
Yeah.
You know why? And I think that's because there's not a single fucking position that the orange man ran on that you can actually defend without making yourself look like a Nazi. I don't think it's possible. And I think they all know that. And I think that's why not one person that's come in here talking shit come in with a real picture, a real name, as taking an invite, even when we had all the doors open for them to come in and say whatever they wanted. Didn't happen.
We even had a guest who was a Trumper who backed out. We don't know why he backed out.
Like you all talk about we're out of touch, we're bitter, we're a bunch of pussies. Like where's your guys' fucking testicular fortitude to come in face to face and have a conversation?
I think probably at this point it looks like he just hit and ran. Like that's the way it is.
Oh, can we ban them now then? Or just delete the
No.
Can I at least delete the comment then?
What? No.
Don't ban them.
Leave the comments, because every person that comes in here talking shit, you know, when the shit hits the fan and it affects them just as much as it affects everybody else, and they're like, oh fuck, what did we do? And they come back in here, this is the shit that they're gonna see in the future. They're gonna be like, oh fuck, we did look that stupid.
Yeah.
No, let's keep them. And then again, if we're wrong, we're wrong in the future. But you know what? At this point, again, I don't fucking see it happening because the shit's already starting and he's not even inaugurated yet.
Yeah.
So,
you know,
I'm concerned. I've been keeping a track on the police blotter using my phone, and there are no reports of flowers being stolen from a funeral. So I'm beginning to think that Ron lied to us just so he wouldn't be on the show.
That message just didn't seem to make any sense to me. I was trying to I'm going to a funeral for flowers. What?
Oh, okay. So hold on. So
maybe flowers is the name of a person.
Well, this
He's
is
going
a
to
white
a funeral for flowers.
This is a white lady thing. This is a white lady thing. When somebody dies in the family, right? And there's flowers that are taken to the service. Family members will then come and pick up the flowers. They want to take them home or plant them or whatever else. So I bet his wife was like, "Hey, I want these flowers."
No, I'm sorry, Stephen. I don't know what white people you grew up around, but those flowers go around. That's what the funeral
mother, no, not only did my mother take one, my mother took one. That I was a vase. I ordered this.
It might be just too hot in the flower.
Was super her mind before.
Then you're not going to disappoint in bringing that is due.
That's the one.
Actually, with it. Let me.
Well, for a long transition to me, I was did is that showed all of my body. So
wow.
I wanted to let people know I have an ostomy and hopefully allow women or other people, generally speaking, with health issues or conditions or even just any kind of body insecurities to realize and understand that we can all be beautiful no matter what is going on with our bodies. And it's a matter of how we think and how we feel about ourselves and the kind of energy that we put out to the world.
Wow. Ian is saying that we are glitching. I think he's on YouTube, and I see that we are having some audio problems on YouTube because that feeds the radio signal. Wait, something just happened there on the radio side of it. Very, very strange things going on. I don't know. I have no idea. No, I don't think it's you, Ian.
No,
I'm sorry about this.
Yeah.
It is YouTube?
It's on.
Can you check the Facebook feeds and see if it's fine on Facebook? That means it's only to YouTube. How about the Gov's feed? Can you check that? I'm sorry, Annie.
Yeah, okay. Sure. I'll check the Gov's feed. Just give me one moment so I can, because I can only do one thing at a time.
It's the Russians. They're coming after us.
Yeah, this is very interesting.
Damn commies.
It suddenly got better. Carry on. Yeah, it did. It suddenly got better. I see it on the radio side. We're all back. Something very strange is going.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
I did that.
All right, so it's a good time to mention the book, How Sex Work Shaped My Life. When the title is provocative enough, How Sex Work Shaped Your Life. Does that mean physically, mentally, emotionally? When did there's a whole lot of questions here. When did you first become interested in this stuff? Let's go back to the beginning. As a adolescent, was this a plan to become a adult entertainer, or?
No, it was not the plan. I didn't really have a very good plan when I was a teenager. I grew up in a smaller town and I came from a very poor home, and I really honestly didn't have the imagination of what my future was going to be like. I really felt lost when I left high school, to be honest. I went to university and I really just took general courses because I didn't know what I wanted to do. The title of the book is really relevant in the way that because I started as an exotic dancer when I was 23 years old, and then I went in and out of the adult entertainment industry throughout my life, and I'm 50 now. I've done all kinds of different work within the industry, from nude modeling to stripping waitress to intimacy provider. So many things. Strip club, massage girl. I've done a lot. And I also worked in a lot of regular jobs, what we call square jobs. I was a marketing manager for a motorcycle dealership. I was a marketing manager for a nonprofit organization. I've worked in frontline support work. So I've been kind of back and forth. I've also had 3 children, and I've been with 2 different fathers. So long-term relationships that were impacted by my work in the adult entertainment industry, my motherhood. So it's really about how being in the adult entertainment industry impacted all these different aspects of my life throughout my life, and how it shaped me as a person and as a mother and as a partner.
I have a couple of questions for you real quick. One is Annie Temple a stage name? Because I'm thinking, like, because of the hair, I'm thinking it's like a cross between Little Orphan Annie and Shirley Temple. You know,
are correct.
I actually thought of Shirley Temple to start with, but most of our audience doesn't have any clue. I mean, unless they're as old as you or me,
When I first started dancing as an exotic dancer, I was trying to think of a stage name, and I was sitting around a table with a bunch of other dancers, and they said, "Is there any celebrity that people say you look like?" And I was like, "The only people I've ever been compared to are Little Orphan Annie and Shirley Temple." And they said, "Annie Temple." And at first I didn't really like it. I was like, I don't know, but I thought I'll just use it for now, but it stuck. So it's been 27 years now.
It's a
Now, the other
commercial
question,
name.
the other question is above your left shoulder. It almost looks like there's a partial body cast of you having a baby or something. Is that what that is?
Yes, it is.
And which child is that? The first
That is
child?
my second child, my son. And actually, that's a funny story too, because at the time, a bunch of my exotic dancer friends threw a baby shower for me when I was pregnant before my son was born. And they showed up with the materials to create that cast. So they put the plastic sheet on my couch and they got me to take all my clothes off. And I sat down and all my girlfriends started plastering me with the plaster. And it was a big fun party event. And then I had to sit really still for a while. And it was hilarious.
And that's funny because I was at a party where my friends plastered me also, but that was with alcohol. but it wound up with the same result, no body cast. No. But now, is there envy between the first child and the second child because one has a body cast and the other one doesn't?
It was just a matter of my friends that decided to bring it to that party. I should have done it with my first child. No one thought of it. My third child, I was a single mom with my third pregnancy, and all of this is in my book. But yeah, I didn't do a big, huge baby shower or anything like that with my third child.
Right. I'm glad we went to the children because this is exactly where I wanted to go. You said the second child, my son. I'm assuming that means the other two children are female?
Yes.
Okay. Would you want the life that you have had in adult entertainment for your daughters?
Son,
Yes,
because they could go that way as well.
Yeah, I know that is honestly, if there's a part in my book too where I wrote a letter to my daughter when she was 3, my oldest daughter. She's 24 now. And I said to her in that letter that I hoped that she would have more options and that she wouldn't get into the adult entertainment industry, not because I feel like it's a shameful profession, but because of the stigma.
Right.
And I just didn't want her to have to endure the condemnation that people, treat the way people treat you.
Right. So this is where and it's a little bit political here, but I'm not, it's not like a election type of political discussion here. It's, do you view this as women's empowerment, women being empowered to do what they want with their own lives, embrace their sexuality, or is it it's part of the cultural thing where we still, Stormy Daniels is always on Twitter and people treat her like she's supposed to be stupid. She's a very smart person. And I have interviewed several porn stars, adult film stars, however, some of them want to be called one and some won't. But in my experience, they've all been very intelligent young women, or sometimes older women, but people who, defy that stigma or that bigotry or that perceived notion that they must be stupid. They got it, they just did this because they were lazy and didn't want to work, whatever, all the stigma that goes to it. More empowering or more, I don't know, disempowering for women?
Well, it really depends on the individual person's experience of it, of course. And my personal experience is that it has been very empowering. Certainly, there have been, difficult situations, but I look at it from a labor point of view because every single job that anyone engages in is for the same reason. It's to make a living. It's to put a roof over your children's heads and provide for them. And sex work is the same thing. It's a job. It's an occupation. It's one that a lot of women choose because it enables them to give their families the type of lives that they want to provide for them. In my case, because I've dealt with a lot of health issues and I have a disability and I have struggled to actually keep jobs because I've had to call in sick a lot. I've been hospitalized a lot. There haven't been a lot of options for me to earn enough to provide a comfortable life for my children. But
Right.
working in adult entertainment has enabled me to do that. And there's other things, like when I first started dancing as an exotic dancer at the age of 23, I was very intimidated by a lot of people, especially people in suits and ties, and people that seemed to be professional, coming from a very poor, more working class background with addiction and crime in my family and in my life. I just was very intimidated by those types of people. But when I started working in the strip clubs, and a lot of my customers were these suit and tie guys and people that had a lot of power in their positions and in their jobs, and people from the bank, people from all these different places that I had in the past felt very intimidated by. And now I was being treated like an equal by them, and even felt like I had some power over them. And so that really changed my sense of confidence, just of being in the world and talking to different people, instead of feeling like I was inferior to other people. So there are a lot of ways that it has been extremely empowering for me. But then there are also the ways of, like, the stigma, like we were talking about, that it has held me back. It's held me back from friendships. It's held me back from, getting to know my children's friends' parents. There are so many reasons why I fear, making those kinds of connections with people, because once they find out about my work, it could impact my children and it could impact my life in so many negative ways.
Right.
Now, I used to be a male stripper back in my 20s, and one of the issues that I had was that women that I would date, if I met them while I was on the job, they either wanted me to quit stripping, or they didn't understand. Wait a minute, you met me like this. This is what I was doing, and he also didn't trust me out on my own around other women, because they said, well, then, you must be something of a whore because you're a male dancer. It's like, no, I'm a male dancer because I needed the money.
I thought you were going to say because I'm something of a whore.
No, I wasn't something of a whore.
That is such a funny misconception that so many people have. I was in a 9-year relationship and recently became single in the past 6 months. And one of the ways that I kind of like screen people out who seem interested to me is I tell them right away about my work as an intimacy provider. And the funniest thing is, the majority of them, their first instinct, or the first thing they think, is that I'm easy. Right. And they are so wrong. It's like the opposite. I am more confident. I have my intimacy needs met. I'm not desperate. I'm not going to latch on to the first man that pays attention to me. I am not easy to get into bed. And it's just hilarious, because the stereotype that they believe about me, which is so completely untrue. And when you were talking earlier about how the majority of adult entertainers that you've interviewed have been intelligent, and I have the same experience of my colleagues in this industry, that we're very entrepreneurial. We're the type of people who, will start our own businesses. The majority of people that I know in this industry have more than one thing going on. They have this industry, and then they have other side gigs and other side jobs. It's the type of person that's attracted to this industry is someone that's very self-driven, and also someone that can go against the grain, go against what the expectations of us are.
Right. I want to come back to the entrepreneurial stuff and the fact of being in control of your own life and your own career within the adult entertainment industry, because I think that's a dividing line. If people who are not in control of their own destiny in that, and are doing things they have to do to survive, versus doing things they want to do, and that they are in full control, and only being able to say yes or no to what they will and won't do, I think there's a dividing line there. But I want to stay on the children for just one moment here, because Candace Horback, which is a name you really don't need to change if you're going to be an adult film star. You could have went with Candy Horback, and believe me, that would work on porn sites. But she changed the name. She goes by the name of Eva Lovia or Lovia, something, Lovia. I interviewed her. She was a staunch feminist up until she had a son. And her son made her change complete, do a 180, where she's no longer a feminist. She's practically a masculinist or a maleist or whatever, however you want to say. She is all about men's rights and men. She has this attitude now that that men need help in society. Like help. Men don't have no, I mean help as far as advantages and being the underdog in a lot of situations, which as a male that does not ring true with me. But I'm just wondering, has having a son change your perspective on empowerment and the gender issues that we go through in society with terms of advantages and disadvantages and the political ramifications of any of that?
That's really interesting that you say that, because I was definitely someone who identified as a feminist. It wasn't having a son that kind of shook the core of that for me. It was getting into the adult entertainment industry and having people tell me that I was too degraded to know what was best for me. Right. And having women oppress women in the name of feminism, that kind of thing was very, very unsettling for me. What really made an impact, though, was when I was working in frontline support work. I was working in transition houses for women who were escaping violence. And the house that I worked in, we recognized homelessness as violence. So we would allow women into our house just simply for being homeless. And sometimes we would have women contact us and they became homeless with their husbands and children. And we could not do anything for their husbands. There were no programs, there were no services, there were no supports for men in that situation or families. And we would just assume often that if a family was homeless, that it was the fault of the man. The whole system, in my opinion, was rigged very derogatorily towards men. There's all these programs that I saw were like a Band-Aid solution to react to the problem of violence against women, but there were no programs that were there to prevent violence towards women. And by that, I mean by helping and healing our men. Right. And I literally worked in a transition house that was next door to a crack shack, and which is a house where people go to do drugs. And we would watch these broken, especially the young men, which really broke my heart, walking past back and forth to this house, and there was literally nothing that we could do for them or offer to them. And it was just so to me, what I thought is our world is like, it's forgetting about the needs of men. And then social media started, and that's when I started to notice how people, it was socially acceptable to trash talk men. And it still is. It's socially acceptable to put men down and call them toxic masculinity and misogynists and rapists and would you rather meet a bear or a man in the woods? Like these kinds of things are very like, you couldn't talk like this about women. You would be crucified.
But but are they saying that about all men? I mean, to me, it was started off as like toxic masculinity was a certain type of male. Not all men fit into that. You know,
I mean,
I don't
that
think
might
I've
be
ever been
true,
called toxic.
but I think it's making regular guys fear what to say, how to act, how to behave, how to approach a woman, how, and it's fueling the fire of women against men. And honestly, because I have a lot of friends who are self-identified feminists, and the way that they paint all men with a brush, they do. Yeah. And I think it's very harmful to men. And when my son was born, my feeling was, a lot of women, and I've seen women say things like this, like, when my son was born, I thought to myself, I'm going to try really hard to make sure he doesn't turn into a predator. Well, when my son was born, I knew that I wouldn't raise a son that would turn into a predator. I I was more concerned about how our society attacking and putting down men all the time would impact him and his self-confidence. And it's something that he's an adult now. It's something we talk about. And when he started dating, you know, it was very scary for him. Like, how do I get consent to try to kiss a girl? How do I know I'm not insulting her? Because the messaging is so confusing.
Yeah, I agree. The messaging is very confusing. And thank you for giving me something, a perspective I had not considered to actually think about. I think I tend to agree with what you just said, but here's the point of that where I'm not sure I disagree. This is a disagreement with what you said. We talk about the stigma in adult entertainment. Women are looked down as easy, probably stupid, manipulated. The only reason you would be doing that is because you're desperate and easy and just a slut or whatever. If a guy is in the adult entertainment industry, he's a hero. And most guys, wow, that's what, you know, from the male side, we honor that as some kind of championship ring, but there is the prejudice. But I agree with what you said with the idea that men are expected to not and take the blame sometimes for their family's failure and all that kind of stuff. We still hold on to those kind of expectations on men. It's a lot to consider there. So thank you for sharing your perspective on that.
You're welcome.
So now, but from that point of view, because I might, and I don't want, I try, because we're so much on political stuff with the election happening this week, but on the abortion issue, I'm always told that men's opinion don't matter. You have no voice in this issue. And I say, well, even if I'm for women and for empowering women and women's right to choose, you don't want my voice. And I've been told, yes, we don't need your help. Well, I don't. That is confusing. You're talking about the messaging being confusing. So you want me just to step out of it and just leave the men who totally disagree with you and are going to try to force their opinions. You just want them in the game because they're not stepping out whether you like it, and you want me to step out and not be on your side. That's a very confusing message to a person like me.
For sure, I agree, and I believe that comes from man hating. That comes from the opposite of misogyny. You know, women, I feel like women don't even realize that they are hating on men because it's become so socially acceptable.
Yeah.
That it's just normal now.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with it. I don't feel it's fair. And as an intimacy provider, I also feel that this brush, painting men as perverts and as people who are, you know, not in control of their sexuality and all kinds of things like this is harming both men and women as well. And also not being able to understand the importance of intimacy, especially sensual or sexual intimacy for men, because it is, in my opinion, it is the path to healing for the majority of men, and that is their solace. That is where they find peace and regeneration and a reaffirmation of their manhood. And so when we you know, criticize or put down men for their sexual or sensual needs, then I feel that that's really doing a disservice to them, and it's not taking into consideration the importance of those needs for men and ignoring the needs of men and placing the needs of women over men. This isn't a healthy society. I don't agree with that. You know?
Yeah. This is interesting because do you take these ideas that you just expressed into consideration when creating adult entertainment? Because I think, by and large, adult entertainment, from what I've seen of it, is really degrading to women in a lot of ways, and not necessarily meant, although I'm sure it's not the woman's involved who are involved. I'm sure it's not their intent to say we should allow ourselves to be. But Brendan Walsh was talking about when he was on the program about how pornography in general and it has gotten so far out of control that we think the way to for men to express them. Young men who watch porn a lot are learning that the way to be intimate and talking, and I want to get into intimacy and the difference and the role of sex in intimacy and all that stuff. He said the way to be intimate with a woman is to shove a boot up her ass and ejaculate all over her face, and that's the way young men are being taught that they should be impressing their woman. Like a woman wants that, he wants to be degraded, and all the bad messages that come along with that. So the long way of phrasing this question is: do you take these ideas that you just expressed into consideration when creating adult entertainment? Because I do think the messaging is going to be there, right?
Yes. Well, I mean, definitely on an individual level, there are a lot of people who are trying to make more educational and women-centered pornography, the type of content that educates men on how to actually, give pleasure rather than copying what you see in most pornographic content. And pornography, to me, it's a very deep topic, and a lot of my colleagues disagree with me, but I did the deep dive. I went right into researching porn because one in particular, but a few of my clients expressed that they felt that they had porn addiction. And a lot of my colleagues say that porn addiction doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
And I thought, but if a person says that they have porn addiction, then I want to believe that person, and I want to believe that it's possible that it exists. So I started to do my research. And the thing with porn is that it becomes a replacement for a lot of the young men. They don't even get out and meet women anymore. They don't get out and ask girls out. They don't try to have sex. Like, people are not losing their virginity at a young age anymore. Like, people aren't even meeting in person anymore. And this is very sad, in my opinion.
I would say, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think young females are losing their virginity at the age they always did. I think males are not, because they, to your point, they'd rather stay home and masturbate to porn than go out and actually meet a woman.
Thank you for clarifying that. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is interesting because I think we are sick as a society. We don't use sex as intimacy. There are two kind of schools of thought here. Either you are just using sex to procreate in the Judeo-Christian whatever model of what sex should be about, or you're using it for recreational fun. And there's no middle ground where sex is an important part of a relationship that builds intimacy. And how do we actually use it in that way and feel safe and empowered to share our thoughts and our kinks and all that kind of stuff without the judgmental stuff, and trying to use that to build a stronger relationship. So I'm curious about intimacy. I think you used the word intimacy provider. I don't know if it coach, or because I feel like the word coach is overused. How do we address the sickness of how we even approach what sex is? Because you're either to one extreme or the other. You're either it's strictly for procreation, or it's all about just partying, man. It's just about, like, let's have a wild flesh pile orgy, and there's no in between. It's where it should be about two people coming together to build trust and get to know each other on a spiritual, physical level. So how do you approach that as an intimacy provider? I think is the word you said.
Yeah, well, I consider myself an intimacy specialist because I do provide intimacy, like, as a surrogate, and I also do coaching. But honestly, what you're talking about, to me, the adult entertainment industry is a symptom of that sickness. The fact that there's so many laws that criminalize either sex workers or their clients, the fact that people look down on any kind of exchange of sexual or intimate relations for money, this is all a symptom of that problem of us not making intimacy a priority in our lives, and painting it as something that is dirty and people are, what's wrong with people that they need that? Like, what? Come on, an infant will die if they are not touched. And
Right.
that doesn't go away as we get older. We do need we do need touch. Something I want to research more, because so many of my male clients have partners who don't want to be touched anymore and seemingly don't need intimacy in their lives. And I know that that's not true. So I'm really curious about what's going on with women. But I do know that in order for us to start to heal the intimacy in our relationships, open up those conversations, and be able to recognize the importance of intimacy, including the importance for people to have access to sex workers, because they don't get intimacy in any other way. And recognizing the importance of that in-person connection of two people that we can have. And it starts really with conversations like what we're having right now. And it's one of the reasons why I talk really openly about these subjects, because they're taboo and nobody wants to talk about it. And so we're never going to heal if we don't.
Or they think if we talk about it, it's going to end up being another just a verbal pornographic movie that we paint for each other. Like we have to make it really gratifying in some way, you know, sexually gratifying in some way, or there's no payoff to the conversation.
Yeah, Ron.
Yeah. But this idea, because she just brought up the idea of sex workers because they can't get an intimacy. Can there be intimacy if you're paying for it? Or because to me, it feels like this person doesn't care about me. They're not. This is not intimacy. This is they're just doing this for the money, and it could be anybody here. It's not me. Right? It's not.
You're so wrong. You're so wrong. I mean, I can't speak for all people who work in the sex industry, and I'm sure there are some who don't like their job and are like rolling their eyes when their client walks in. I mean, that'll happen in any occupation for sure. But there are a very large number of us who actually truly do care about our clients. Like, my clients are my best friends. They're the closest people to me in my life. And my relationship with them, each of them, is very special in its own way. And we look forward to seeing each other, and we spend time getting to know each other. Our conversations are very deep. The thing is when you can be in the presence of someone and have an intimate exchange with them, they open up. They open up, especially men. They just open up like you never see them open up. And so sex workers actually hear the deepest, darkest secrets of our clients. We get to know them on a level that their therapists don't know them.
Right.
Yeah, but the hairdressers, but your hair, the guy who does my hair hears a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we're like a hairdresser, but we learn all about every naughty little idea, kink, thing, anything that comes into their minds. And a lot of it is also, I think porn really feeds a lot of kink. And so people who are starved for intimacy will engage more often in porn, and then they become more kinky because you need more and more extreme porn to get kind of to that place. And then those kinks become a barrier to having relationships because they don't know how to communicate those kinks in their relationships. So all of these are things that are more comfortable and safer for them to do when they see an intimacy provider. And the whole point of them seeing sex workers, and I call them intimacy providers, is because they really do want that intimate, in-person, skin-to-skin touch feeling. And it's porn doesn't fulfill that.
Yeah. I like doing references that Stephen is too young to appreciate. Does she or doesn't she? Only her hairdresser knows for sure. I don't know if you're old enough, Annie, to kind of appreciate that reference. That used to be a commercial for a shampoo. Does she or doesn't she? Only her hairdresser knows for sure.
I don't remember that one.
No, it's 60s and 70s commercial, which was
kind of born in 74.
Yeah, it was kind of so even by the time you were born, it was probably fading out, but it caused a lot of controversy back in the day. That commercial itself was like too risque. They would only play it at night on television. But the idea, because I understand what you're saying, that there can be you want to really be a care provider for your clients and have that, but I think every person has the right to say no, and clients may come to you that you just get a bad vibe from, like, this is not really about, this is a bad person. And have you ever come across, and how do you tactfully go about saying no to somebody if that has happened without feeling really threatened or scared?
Well, I actually teach webinars on this, and part of ensuring that we're not in a position of being, pushed into something that we're not comfortable with, or even, attacked. There's a lot that goes into it. Screening is the first thing. We try to screen out those guys, and so we come up with ways to ensure that they either won't be comfortable to hurt us in any way or push us in any way, or we all have different screening techniques. Me personally, I don't answer the majority of people who contact me simply because of how they contact me. So that's one of my screening techniques. I also require a face photo, and if they're going to hurt me, then they usually don't want to send a face photo ahead of time.
Right.
So there are different ways that you can screen people out. Then
how about real names? Is that part of it? Real name?
Every single different person in this industry has their own screening techniques. Me personally, I don't force people to use their real names. They can just give me a fake name if they want. I don't mind. In Canada, where I live, it's the client that is criminalized, and so a lot of them feel very nervous to give their real names.
It might be a cop setting them up. Yeah,
I
get it.
Or whatever. But it's not a big deal to me. I'm not giving them my real name, and so I just kind of accept that. But I want to see what kind of person they are by how they interact with me pre-booking, and if they're willing to send me a photo. And if they aren't willing to go through my screening practices, then it's just a no. And sometimes they want to argue, and I just think, see, this is why you fail, because I'm not going to see someone that's going to argue with me about my boundaries. Now, once I'm in the actual booking session, I take control right away. I direct the person what I expect from them. I tell them what my boundaries are. And if there's any kind of pushing of boundaries, then it starts usually with me being politely or showing what I do not want or what I want. And then it can escalate to me being more firm. However, my goal is always to get through to the end of the booking, which is usually 1 hour with a first-time client, and just get through it and get them out the door with the least amount of issues possible. If it means just going to the washroom to regroup and then come back out, and a lot of it is guiding and just trying to politely. You don't want to get them mad, right? So if you're scared that they're going to be violent or in some way coercion or anything like that, rob you, if you have a fear of that, if I have a fear of that, my biggest goal is to just get them happily as possible out the door at the end of the session. And then once they are gone, take notes on them and make sure never to take them back. So it's really, and honestly, I've never had any problems because of my screening and because of the way of my de-escalation techniques and the way that I handle my business. And I have had guys be like, why won't you take me back? And I just ignore them. I just don't even respond.
Take me? Thank you because this is where the segue. It's going to be awkward for me to express this because I don't want to take 15 minutes to pose this question. But when I was a young man, I was hanging out with a friend of mine in a side room to his parents house, and we heard the mother and father arguing in the living room. The father came out and walked and didn't realize we were there and saw us there. We're two 15-year-old boys, and he looked at his son and said, men were not meant to be monogamous. And even at a 15-year-old, that message to me felt like, wow, that's a weird thing for a father to be telling his son. He got caught, he was having an affair, and his wife caught him, and that's what they were arguing about. And this idea that men were not meant to be monogamous, this is one part of the mindset that men have. But on the same token, we tend to fall in love over an orgasm. We men feel like once a woman makes us come, all of a sudden she is elevated to something more important in our lives, and we want to hold on to it and make her. We want to become possessive of her. This is the kind of the male, what drives the male incentive to have sex in the first place is, man, this was great, and we're not thinking about it on an emotional level. For her, it's what we got something out of it, and now we want to own her and use her again and again. So this idea, we're not meant to be monogamous, but we also crave that monogamy, that one-on-one relationship, because it's safe, we know it works, and all that kind of stuff. This whole thing, it's like, so for you is falling in, because I could see it happening where somebody comes in as a client, you're helping them with their intimacy issues, and then all of a sudden they've reached orgasm, and then now they want to make you part of their lives, not just as a professional relationship, but they're falling in love, that whole kind of thing. Is that a vocational hazard, and do you deal with that?
It does happen, absolutely. I actually have a client that I coach who has fallen in love with his favorite sex worker, and he really, really wants her to be his, and it's something that he's come to talk to me about, and we've explored, and getting deep down to what is the real problem for him, why he feels so strongly that he needs her agreement that they should be together, is because he has a fear that she will be gone from his life. And he says, I want to know that she'll be in my life 10 years from now. And I said, well, even if she moved in with you and married you, there's no guarantee that she's going to be in your life 10 years from now.
Absolutely.
And
I can attest to
can
that.
you be happy with what she offers you now? Because that's all she's willing to offer. And if you can be happy with that, then you need to remind yourself to just live for today,
It's almost like a Buddhist live in the moment type of messaging. We have to say goodbye